couple visits shelter and adopts all 265 dogs that lived in terrible conditions. There are people whose purpose on Earth is undeniably to help abandoned animals. Such is the case with Israeli couple Danielle Eden and Rob Scheinberg, who have always had a deep love for dogs. Danielle grew up in Israel and raised dogs from a very young age, often adopting from a shelter near her home. She met Rob in her home country, and the two decided to move to Canada with their 4 dogs they rescued from the street. Their dogs inspired the pair to do as much as they could to help homeless animals. This is how they opened Dogtails Rescue and Sanctuary, a 50-acre farm in Ontario, a province in east-central Canada. The goal of the shelter is to rescue and rehabilitate hundreds of abandoned dogs. In honor of their own dogs, the couple regularly travels to Israel to find dogs in need and bring them back to Canada for a second chance at a happy life. It was during a recent visit, however, that the couple was hit with an impossible choice, but one that led them to an incredible decision. The couple says that on all their trips to Israel, they visit local shelters and make lists of 10 to 20 dogs to rescue on each trip. They always look for the most difficult cases possible: elderly dogs, dogs with disabilities, and dogs that have been waiting for a home for years, for example. Making these lists is stressful, but usually it's very clear which dogs need our help the most, said Danielle. Earlier this year, they were taken to a shelter that we had never been to before. Even though we're used to seeing dogs that are in a terrible state, she was shocked by the conditions of the place. To say that the shelter was overcrowded is an understatement, according to her. There were more than 250 dogs crammed into space that had capacity for 70. There were 6 dogs left in each cage, all fighting for pieces of bread, their daily food. The rats were everywhere, and the dogs, most of whom had been there for years, were terrified. For the first time, it wasn't obvious to the couple which dogs were most in need, so the only alternative the couple came up with was to buy the shelter and save all the dogs that were barely surviving there. In the last 2 months, 90 have been relocated in Israel to more suitable shelters. 25 have already made the trip to Canada, 150 remain. We've set up a team in Israel to clean the shelter and make the dogs more comfortable until we have space to bring them here, he reported. While in Israel, the veterinarians will take care of the dogs to solve any urgent health problems. The team will work with the dogs every day to socialize them and teach them to trust again. Thanks to the kind couple, the dogs will finally have a decent life while they can't find a home.